Hi, my name is Bhupesh. I think you all know me. Right, I'm going to go into a bit about my story. At present, it's like me and Sam got together. We're together. Sam got pregnant, and straight away, Hertfordshire County Council, the vultures got involved. First, I didn't phase it. I just thought, oh, they're just getting involved because of child protection and whatever else. We was greeted by a Michelle Ferdinand, who made up lies and thought, right, we'll take it to child protection. So we went to child protection conference, which was held at Apsley in Hemel Hempstead. Healthcare visitors, midwives, and people like that. Didn't pay much attention, said my piece. But what I realised is most of the stuff which was discussed wasn't on the actual notes. So I made this point, and basically they went and took it further and further and further. But this was pre-birth of our first child. Uh, we went on and basically we had a social worker come round and tell us about this, that, and the other, which was a separate social worker. I'm not going to mention her name because she was all right. But Michelle Brooks, she turned round and she's like, "Oh, you should be living together, this, that, and the other." At the end of the day, Sam was living with her mother, so it made no difference. Like a place which I'd moved into was an empty shell. I had no carpets, no flooring, no furniture. But according to the social worker, Michelle Ferdinand, oh, you need to move in here, you need to move in here. And like lots of things were said, right? But when I asked them for help for housing, they weren't interested. Oh, it's tough, right? So that was that. We went ahead. Uh, Social worker who came round, right? Family intervention. She was all right. She's like, "Oh, you need to buy this. You need to buy that. You need to buy this." Right? I went out and spent everything which I could. Right? I bought sterilizers. I bought a few. The milk. The social worker stated we had to use powdered milk. Hang about the stuff in bottles which we can use. So we just went and got the bottles, and she's gone, "Oh, it's going to be more expensive." At the end of the day, it makes no difference because I was working. I worked for a reputable company, which I had worked for quite a while. I was working as a manager, so the money was irrelevant, and basically did the place up, and then we went and had our baby. But pre birth, we had a social worker, Alison Andrews. She was the one who was racially abusive. She turned round and stated, "What are you going to feed your kid? Curry?" She wanted to know what money I had, where I was getting my money from, what money I earned. And when I turned around and said, "It's none of your business because I don't even tell my family members what money I earn. So why would it be a social worker's business to what money I was earning?" I think she took it offensively and then turned around and said I was aggressive, this, that, and the other, and just made stuff up, really. We went to a conference up at Hertfordshire, and basically they turned around and says, "Well, we're going to change the social worker." I go, "Well, she was racially abusive." But the one thing is, I did phone up Hertfordshire Police, and they failed to do anything about it. Right? Alison Andrews was replaced by Kingsline Savaria. He comes from Tamil Nadu, and basically he came in with Jennifer Ann Jones. Outside was a conversation. There's witnesses present, which I can provide, which Jennifer Ann Jones, the old coffin dodger, turned round and said, "Oh, if you split up from Sam, you can keep the baby." Hang about. I'm in a relationship with Sam. At the end of the day, I'm going to protect my missus over somebody making malicious allegations. And she's going, "Oh, well, she abused her other children and this, that, and the other," which was all untrue. At the end of the day, I take people on face value. If you mess with me, then like you mess with me, but you'll be dealt with eventually. And like I will always look at the positive in people because you don't just look at the negatives. At the end of the day, if you looked at negatives, you'd have no people around you. This woman was going on and she was just slanderous. And Kingsline just backed her up. After we had our first son, we was in the hospital. I kept Sam there for 3 days, but pre birth there was a lot of stress, right? And Sam was rushed to hospital with ketones in her blood and whatever else, and these lot just hassle, hassle, hassle. Right? We came home, and then basically it was just hassle, hassle, hassle. We had our religious ceremony, a chutti, where family members came round, and everything was all good. I do believe somewhere down the lines we went to a wedding in Leicester. We stayed at the Marriott. Jennifer Ann Jones and King's Lance about, we want to know where you're at. We want to know everything, right? We want to come round and make a visit. At the end of the day, this is a family function, right? I don't want you fucking coming to my family. All throughout this case, all they wanted to know is what my family details are. Same as with what Sam's details were and family details. But they had that from previous. So what the 10th would do is bully, intimidate, threaten, and take details of your family members. But I bet they don't do this to the foster carers who they have. They just take them. Or it doesn't matter whether you got a pedo living with you. Or that's all fine. We can sort all that out. We can hide that. From there, things progressed. They started to take us to court. You need to go into the unit. We need to see Linda Jess, Dr. Linda Jess. It was appealed on A9 of the bundle, but the court don't take no notice of it. Linda Jess was also paid off £82,800, which we dug up. She's not a registered doctor, and basically that's what these lot claimed. And all throughout the paperwork, black and white, is point blank there. Paperwork's been sent to legal in India, right? Other people have seen it. It's like my Mackenzies, right? Tim and Julie have been involved right from like more or less day one, from when we got stunned over. The solicitors involved, Greenhouses, which is opposite near Watford Junction, they were in on it as well. All the solicitors are well in on it. You had another, Sam, what was your solicitor called? Arkwrights. That was another solicitors, but they didn't do just Sam over. There's other parents as well which they've done over. These people are all in on it together. They took us to court, made us go to the unit. The unit was fine, but when we was in the unit, my son picked up an infection, and the infection was from a dirty environment, which I brought up. But they turned around and stated I was being aggressive, this, that, and the other. But it was a valid point. My son hadn't picked up any infections whilst he was at home, but in this dirty unit, they had like food in between the chairs, the carpets was dirty, and they claimed that they were clean. But this was Hearts Family Assessment Centre. There was a Deborah O'Brien, right? Don't know whether she's related to Nicholas O'Brien, the barrister, but she was a really nasty piece of work and evil. Right? There was other people there as well. There was a few who was all right, and basically I did my own thing, went to work, and these lot were like asking questions. Oh, you're not going to work today? I work as a manager, so if I wanted to work from home, that wouldn't have been a problem. And they go, what are you going to do for money? Right? And then they started to claim that Samantha had no money. So that really pissed me off. So I'd make sure that I left £50 notes hanging about. And when they asked, what are these for? I go, oh, that's my son's pocket money. Because they really pissed me off. At the end of the day, my son never went without. But according to these lot, or this, that and the other, I'll follow on further on in another broadcast and state more. But this assessment centre had cameras, right? And the cameras are on you 24/7, right? And at the minute now, they wanted to take pictures of my son. What reasons would they want to take pictures of my son? The only reason is because they wanted to take my son for adoption. And that was the main reason. The assessment we passed, we went home. From when we went home, then things started to get worse. Kingsline Savaria started turning up like on a regular basis. And when I mean regular, 2 or 3 times a week. And it was just harassment. You will see Linda Jess. I made my point clear. Linda Jess, we don't want to see. Want an independent. But Hertfordshire said no. District Judge Mellenby went ahead, right, refused my contacts based on the social worker. Right? These people lie all the time. Kingsline Savaria, right, I did have a little punch up in the court area because he lied on February the 21st. He hit my shoulder and he lied to get a court order so that they can remove my child. He blatantly lied. It's all in the paperwork. It's all in the transcripts of the court and that. He blatantly lied. He turned around and said he's not seen my child, right, and nobody else has seen my child. The one thing is, Samantha used to go to the children's centre, and like if Samantha didn't used to go, I used to go. But these people like to play games. And at the end of the day, I went to the children's centre with my son. We've got the printouts from the children's centre. Not got a problem with the children's centre, right? It's a big respect to the children's centre. But Kingsline lied. He hit my shoulder, and then about 8 people jumped me, and like I threw a few whacks at Kingsline, because at the end of the day, he hit my shoulder, and there was enough people in that courtroom, right, or outside the courtroom. These people upset my son, and they took my son on false, baseless allegations. Continuing another broadcast, because otherwise it's going to get too long.